topic is intercultural communications. Exploring your culture and the culture of others, acceptance, assimilation, and respecting individuals is a key to good communication. With us tonight is Delta Navarro and Guy Pano. They will help complete your understanding of intercultural communications. We all have a culture that we associate ourselves with, whether it's religious or ethnic, usually a combination of the two. For example, I'm Irish and Lutheran. I associate myself with my church and Irish roots. Culture is what can help us bring us together and also create a difference. Co-culture would exist within a larger dominant culture, but has a difference from the majority. For example, America is primarily white, English, and Christian, but has various subcultures of religions such as Jewish, Catholic, Muslim, and Buddhist, and other ethnicities such as African American, Latin, and Middle Eastern. Intercultural communication is used to gain knowledge of other cultures and has become more important with the use of technology and how we can instantly talk to each other around the world. This exchange of information is important for many reasons. The first reason to study intercultural communication is because within our own country, we have so many cultures and co-cultures. A second reason to study intercultural communications is business. Much of our American money goes overseas, and we need to understand each other and conduct proper business etiquette. Another reason to study intercultural communication is curiosity. We as humans are interested in other cultures, even from a musical standpoint, wanting to explore other sounds and traditions. The final reason is with the use of technology. We can easily and affordably communicate with others. The last thing we will discuss are the three goals: assimilation, accommodation, and separation. To assimilate is to create similarity between two groups. For example, if you're going out to a classy restaurant, you don't want to wear jeans and a baseball cap. Accommodation, you always have to respect others, but you do not have to lose yourself in the process. Keep your culture about you. You do not have to change yourself just to show respect. Our last goal is separation, is when a group of people express themselves very openly. Now that I have informed you about intercultural communication, Delta Navarro, who is on location interacting with people, will give you more. Delta?
Thank you, Richard. Now I'm here at Broward College, where a lot of intercultural communication takes place every single day. When talking about intercultural communication, our book states that how we interpret message and visual cues is more important when communicating between cultures than among friends. It also states that errors are most likely to occur among people with many differences. And what a bigger difference it is than having a different culture as someone else. There are three main errors that people make when communicating interculturally. I will be discussing the main idea behind those errors in this short report. The first problem with intercultural communication is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is defined as the belief that your own culture or group is better than everyone else's. This is saying that you evaluate other people by your own culture's terms instead of their own, which in case causes problem because ethnocentrism makes people defensive. Now, here's an example of ethnocentrism. The best way to fight ethnocentrism is to practice cultural relativism. Cultural relativism, a book defined as the belief that people should be judged based on their own cultures rather than your own. In order to avoid ethnocentrism, one must accept that other people's norms and cultures and beliefs are different than your own. Now, ethnocentrism is a main major problem with intercultural communication. But it is not alone. People also make the mistake of stereotyping. In 1999, two experts defined stereotyping as the generalization of a group of people that oversimplifies their culture. Now, our book gives us the example that people think that Jewish people are wealthy and that Asian people are good at math, not realizing that both Jewish people and Asians, they can be rich and poor, or they can be good or bad at math. Now, but I have Alex Evans here, who has been stereotyped for being a Christian. Hi, Alex. You told me earlier that you have been stereotyped for being a Christian before.
Yes. Well, people think that as a Christian I'm forbidden by the Bible to do anything secular.
And is this assumption true?
Not at all. What I do or don't do is a personal choice, and God gives us the freedom to choose. And the Bible is just simply there as a guide to help us choose right from wrong.
And now our book here tells us that people are also willing to stereotype others with the idea from past experiences, good or bad experiences that they've had with people from that culture, or in your case, religion. Do you think this is true?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of different groups that are considered Christianity and believe different things, and I've been judged by people because they've had a bad experience with a certain section of Christianity.
Thank you, Alex. Now, as you can see, people are willing to stereotype with very little evidence, and the truth of the matter is that people react badly to a bad comment made about who they are. But even positive comments are dangerous when reflected as a stereotype. Following ethnocentrism and stereotyping comes prejudice. Prejudice is defined as having a bad attitude towards a group of people just because they are who they are, such as people of color, people in poverty, or people that are from a different place or speak a different language. But these are groups of minority. Majority groups also experience prejudice, such as women. Women are a majority in this world, but they still have sexist incidents that are demeaning and degrading to them. Our book states that prejudice is based on ignorance, that the targeting team or group chooses not to know much about the people who they're targeting with their prejudice. You can help to avoid these problems with intercultural communication by helping educate people on ethnocentrism, stereotyping, and recently discussed prejudice. Back to you, Rick.
Thank you, Delta, for that amazing story. And now to close, we have Guy Pano in our communications room, and he will be concluding this news for us. Take it away, Guy.
Thank you, Rick. You all know there are different cultures in this world, from Asians to Hispanics to American and much more. But each culture has different characteristics. To conclude this news on intercultural communication, I will be teaching you some of the characteristics of different cultures. The first type of culture is an individualistic culture. The book defines individualistic culture as a culture that values an individual's freedom, choice, uniqueness, and independence. These cultures place I before we. They value competition over cooperation, private property over public, and personality behavior over group behavior. But most of all, individual opinion over everyone else's opinion. Countries with these cultures are more likely to leave family to pursue their dreams or goals. They can also move from job to job or leave churches that no longer meet their needs. The countries that have an individualistic culture are the United States, Australia, Great Britain, Canada, and the Netherlands. Now, a collective culture opposes the ideas of an individualistic culture. It is defined as a culture that values the group over the individual. In this culture, they place we before I. They value commitment to family, tribe, and clan, and are more likely to be loyal to their spouse, employer, community, and country. They believe the ancient Confucian saying that if one wants to establish himself, he should help others to establish themselves first. Countries that have these beliefs are Venezuela, Pakistan, Peru, Taiwan, and Thailand. Now, practice what you've learned. The next type of culture is uncertainty accepting cultures. The definition for this culture is a culture that tolerates ambiguity, uncertainty, and diversity. The characteristic of this cultures are they are more likely to accept political refugees and immigrants, less likely to have a rule for everything, and more likely to tolerate general principles. Countries that practice these are the United States, Great Britain, Denmark, Sweden, Singapore, Hong Kong, Ireland, and finally India. Now, for uncertainty rejecting cultures, it is just the opposite of uncertainty accepting cultures. The definition is cultures that have difficulty with ambiguity, uncertainty, and diversity. They have many rules though, are more likely to want to know about everything, and are more likely to reject outsiders. These countries are Japan, France, Spain, Greece, Portugal, Belgium, Peru, Chile, Russia, China, and Argentina. Our third group of cultural is implicit culture and explicit culture. Implicit culture is defined as a culture that in which information and cultural rules are implied and already known to the participants. They tend to be more polite, less aggressive, and more accommodating. The practicing countries are Middle East, Africa, Latin America, etc. And the definition for explicit cultural is a culture in which information, policies, procedures, and expectations are explicit. The characteristics, as you could guess, are opposite to those of implicit culture. Cultures with this practicing are Northern and Western Europe and the United States. Now our fourth and last group are monochronic versus polychronic cultures. The monochronic cultures is defined as a culture that divides time to meet personal needs, separates task and social dimensions, and points to the future. The polychronic culture views time as relationally oriented. An example of the differences between monochronic and polychronic would be this conversation. Countries that practice monochronic time are Canada, United States, and Northern Europe. Now, the countries that practice polychronic time are Latin America, Middle East, Asia, France, Africa, and Greece. To conclude, all cultures have different aspects, and as you can see, the United States has many of these cultures, so we must all be aware of them. Now, here are some strategies to improve your intercultural communication.